although I've been closing the gap between different fields of studies, between all sorts of fields of studies and different approaches to life for a very long time now, based on a collective, holistic approach or perspective on life, I still do think and know that there are huge differences between the spiritual approach and the psychological initiative to life, because simply one empowers you through releasing control and letting go of whatever attachment you have with anything in your life, while the other empowers you through gaining as much control as possible and being highly and critically analytic with each and everything in your life. So almost like opposites, and they both work, that's the thing, they both work. You simply have to choose wisely whichever works best for you, whichever suits you well, because depending on who you are, depending on however you see yourself, depending on what you've been through, depending on what you want to, where you want to get to, one could work for you while the other might not work for you. Really depends on who you are or how you are. Just like, there are many paths that could lead you to the same point. There are many paths that could lead you to wherever you're trying to get to. Just like you could heal, through your blockages and traumas by indulging in extensive shadow work, by being highly intellectually, consciously, critically exploring yourself to bits and pieces, breaking yourself down to bits and pieces, being highly analytical with whatever you've been through, with whatever you are currently experiencing, and seeing whatever has led to this, where is this coming from, where is that coming from, and eventually you're going to be able to heal through your blockages and traumas. Or you could simply heal through them by meditating or by connecting deep enough with your future that you're no longer defined by your past traumas and blockages. Because if you're living through that future, if you visualize it, if you affirm it, if you confirm it to yourself mentally and emotionally, it doesn't have to be physical, because your subconscious won't know if you're there physically or you're simply living there mentally and emotionally. It won't know the difference. And if you're already there, then how could you still be defined by those traumas and blockages? And they dissolve automatically. They disappear from your body, from your energy, from your essence, automatically, by you simply connecting enough with your future, with that future you seek, because they have been preventing you from getting there, but now you're already there. So how could they still be a part of your reality? And as such, they dissolve. So you could heal through them by carefully analyzing each and every one of them, or analyzing the root causes and then building on that, or by you simply meditating, or by you simply feeling good, by you simply choosing to not be defined by them and rather connect with that future. And the thing is, they all work. There's no wrong or right way, but one could be matter creating matter while the other could be energy creating matter. And just a little indicator of the differences between the psychological and the spiritual approach is that, those teachings or this video you've been watching or this book you've been reading that makes you feel very inspired, that makes you feel really good, as if that you've already made it, you've already earned it, you've already deserved it, that you are in fact on the right path, that there's nothing that could go wrong, that everything is happening for you, that it's all working out in your favor. That's the spiritual approach. It gives you this sense of lightness that makes you feel driven and inspired to live and keep creating more out of passion, out of love. While the psychological approach rather makes you feel as if you're not doing enough. You're not there yet. You have to do more. You have to keep doing more. You have to apply more discipline. You have to take action here. You have to change this aspect about your life. You have to change this habit. You have to take as much control over your life. While the former just invites you to release this control, to trust in your journey, to trust in your path, and everything will work out in your favor. And they both work out in your favor. They both lead you. Simply, the difference is that one would be matter creating matter, while the other being energy creating matter. And just a little hint here, This whole creation, the planets, the stars, the galaxies, the universe, was energy that created matter. Were created as energy creating matter rather than matter creating matter. It was all energy which took the form of this matter. It was all energy that projected itself through higher consciousness in this image of matter. And as such, it's of course gonna be way easier. The other would invite you, the psychological approach with the matter creating matter would invite you to go through more struggle, to experience more suffering, to take more action. You would end up knowing more about yourself. You would end up really being so sharp and having this intellectual awakening, which is very different from your spiritual awakening, because that's another common misunderstanding among the community, among us. And it's that, people think that their intellectual awakening is actually their spiritual awakening. I just made a whole video about this. I'm gonna link it somewhere, here. If you're interested to know what's the difference between the intellectual awakening, between your intellectual awakening and your spiritual awakening, please do give it a watch. But the thing is, yes, you're gonna know more about yourself. You're gonna figure out things. You're gonna be more sharper. You're gonna be, way less naive. But at the end of the day, you're gonna reach to the same point much later, through way more on your plate, through more struggles and misery and distress on your plate, while the other, you're gonna reach there so much lighter, a little bit unknowing of how things worked out, but simply you're trusting, simply you're living in faith, simply you're living in hope, in the knowingness that you've deserved that you are in fact the creator of your reality, and that's why things work out for you. So that's why, you choose whichever suits you well. You choose whichever works out for you better. It's up to you, however whichever path you want to take. And I find myself reminded by a very interesting Taoist proverb, or a Chinese proverb, ancient Chinese proverb. It goes something like, he who blames others has a long way to go on his journey. He who blames himself is halfway there. And he who blames no one has already arrived, is already there. And I feel that this really concisely surmise the differences between the psychological and the spiritual approach. The psychological approach would invite you to lay the blame on yourself over and over. Keep blaming yourself. It's all about you. It's all you're doing. It's all happening from you. Although spiritually it is happening for you and out of you. But here it is that you blame yourself. See what difference you could make. Take accountability. Take responsibility. See wherever you could enforce some changes. See where you could change your habits. See what aspect of yourself you could change. See this about that and this and that. While the spiritual approach really invites you to lay the blame on no one. It's happening because it's meant to happen. Now, this is not also to be misunderstood that the spiritual approach is rather inviting you to be naive, or encouraging you to be the fiend that you could be, one hell of a person, a mischievous person. Be a fiend and don't care about anything, don't care about the outcome, don't care about whatever is gonna happen by you being a fiend, or however your life is simply gonna turn out amazing for you. And not really. That's not how it works out, and that's not what it encourages you or invites you to do. But it's simply rather ask that you focus on connecting deeply, truly, profoundly with yourself, with your true self, with your truth, with your true self-worth, and everything is gonna fix itself on the way, on the journey. When you connect deeply with yourself, things tend to fix themselves, resolve themselves so affluently. That's a fact. Just like I told you, while you meditate, as you meditate, you could be healing through your blockages. As you connect to those deeper brainwave states, as you connect to those deeper and higher dimensions, you are functioning from a different level, in a timeless manner. Those traumas, those blockages can no longer define you if you remain consistent and repeatedly indulge in this meditation, in this practice. Also, if you meditate and you go on that journey of connecting with yourself, finding yourself, knowing your true self, you will find that you are gradually building a dislike to mainstream media, or you're becoming less and less interested in mindless, aimless entertainment and aimless hanging out with people. You're becoming less and less interested in, indulging yourself in dopaminergic pleasures and seeking out instant pleasurable experiences. But rather, you're gonna find yourself that your interests, your hobbies are even gonna change the more you connect yourself, because you're becoming more and more true to yourself. You're aligning further with your higher self, and that will bring all types of changes that are required so affluently, so effortlessly. You won't have to force yourself to stop caring about entertainment, to stop caring about your addictions, to stop caring about your negative habits. You're not forcing yourself, which is the psychological approach. You're not applying discipline and taking forced action against your natural alignment, which is at that point might be, to be a fiend. But here, through simply connecting with the spiritual approach, through simply connecting with yourself, you resolve all the problems that you might be dealing with. You resolve all the toxicity, all the negativity that you might be experiencing in your life, all the things that are holding you back. You resolve them so affluently and so effortlessly. And so that's how it works out. That's how both approaches do work out. You simply choose whichever is working out for you, because both are gonna take you there. Both are gonna work out. Both are gonna create the future you want if you remain consistent, if you remain persistent with your pursuits, with your seekings, with your wish out of your future, with what you're asking for. You're gonna be led there. The psychological, like I said, it takes a bit longer. It invites you to do more work and to struggle a little bit more on the price, while gaining the reward of knowing more about yourself, of exploring yourself, of understanding how humans work, of understanding our psychology, our neurology, our bodies, our subconscious a little bit more. However, the spiritual approach takes you there just as well. Faster, quicker, more effortlessly, less suffering, less distress. But simply, you get there a little bit less knowing and understanding of what really happened. You won't have that critical intellectual edge to you, which is, very fine, which is still alright. It does not matter, as long as you get there. So it depends really on you. I personally took both paths. It started with my intellectual awakening. I was just saying about my video, you could watch. I speak about this, all about this, the intellectual awakening. What is spirituality? What is the spirit? And I started with my intellectual awakening when I went very, very deep. It lasted for a few years, three and a half years before it shifted into my spiritual awakening. My intellectual awakening has led me to my spiritual awakening. But I still carried along this critical and cynical edge with me on my journey, which has later on proved to be rather an obstacle, rather a blockage. It held me back more than it actually propelled me. This critical edge, this deeply analytical edge that I built had, made me remain more stuck than I should have, more than necessary. So at the end of the day, you have to choose wisely, and that's all for today. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, because it helps me so much, and it helps this video find its way to many more others who might actually need it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video by AF's Conscious Frequency.